In our earlier lectures, we have learned about keyframe animation, and now you are able to create basic animations using different parameters. So in this lesson, we will learn about keyframe interpolation. In After Effects, there are two types of interpolation. One is temporal and other is spatial. Many times people get confused with it, but trust me, it's very simple to understand. You have to remember just one thing. Temporal interpolation simply belongs to animation speed, and spatial interpolation simply belongs to animation path. So by controlling temporal interpolation, we can give variations in the animation by controlling its speed. And by changing spatial interpolation, we can change the path along which our object is animating. So let's start with temporal interpolation. Here I have created a blue box and have animated its position. It's a linear animation and we have already created it. And if we select this position parameter, you can see the path along which it's animating. It's called motion path. You can see it has many dots on it. Actually, these dots are performing like in between keyframes. And if we see it on zoom view, on each frame it will move from one point to another point. So if points will be close to each other, object has to move less distance on each keyframe, resulting a lower speed. And if there is much gap on each point, object has to move much distance on each keyframe, resulting a higher speed. But here in my case, you can see there is constant gap between the points. So our box is moving with a constant speed. Now to see the effect of temporal interpolation, let's first duplicate this layer, expand its position property, and let's select both keyframes. Well, I want to move it to upper side to see the difference between the animations. So when you have to change any value on two or more keyframes, always select them before changing the value. And if you don't, it will change value only on one keyframe, and your animation will be changed. So always be careful about it. Now let's move it to upper side by using up key. So both have same animation. Let's apply interpolation to upper box's keyframes. Just select them and right click on any keyframe and choose keyframe interpolation. It will give us options for both types of interpolation. But in this chapter, we will only focus on temporal interpolation. Currently it's set to linear, and this is why our object is moving with constant speed. Now expand it and let's set it to Bezier. As soon as we will change the temporal interpolation, it will change keyframe here. Let's play it. Currently it seems there is no change. This is because it's running too fast. So let me move these keyframes to 1 second and play it again. You can see the difference. So upper box's animation is smoother than the lower one. It's not constant now. Let me select both layers position parameter and zoom in screen. You can see in starting it has more gaps between the points than this one. To make it clear, let me move playhead, and now you can see it has more gap between the points here. But in further path, points get close to each other than the second one. And because of this, upper box moves faster than the second one at the start point. But at the end of the path, there is again much gap between the points. So upper box will become fast again at the end point. So this is the temporal interpolation. And if we select this keyframe and go to graph editor, you will see the straight line. But if we select this one and go to graph editor, it will show you a curve. A smoother curve results in smoother animation. But this process is only for demonstration. It's only to teach you. We won't add interpolation in this way. So let me show you another method. But first, we have to convert these keyframes to linear again. To do it, select keyframes, open keyframe interpolation dialog box, and set it to linear again. But there is an easy way to do it. By keeping keyframes selected, hold down Ctrl or Command key and just click on any keyframe. It will convert it to linear, and animation will be constant again. Now let's understand another way to apply temporal interpolation. Just right click on this keyframe, go to Keyframe Assistant, and here we have three types of interpolation. Let's use easy ease out on it, because from this keyframe, object is starting to move, so there is no incoming velocity on it. But before applying it, let me zoom this screen so that we can see the difference on the points. Now let's apply easy ease out on this keyframe, and please pay attention to the upper box's motion path. You see that? Points get close to each other than here. Let me undo it to see the difference again. It's obvious. Let's again apply easy ease out on it. And now if we play it, upper box will move slowly at the start point, and then it will become fast. Alright, now on this keyframe, let's apply easy ease in because box is coming in. Points will get close to each other at the last point also. Now if we play it, it will have very smooth animation. But we very rarely use easy ease in or easy ease out. We always use easy ease. So let's change keyframes to linear again. Just hold down Ctrl or Command key and click on it. Now just right click on it and choose easy ease. And it will do the work of both easy ease in and easy ease out. That means box will be slow on starting and end points, and animation will be smooth. Now select the keyframe, and if you go to Graph Editor, we will get a very smooth curve. By changing this curve, we can give variations to our animation. So we will understand it in next lesson.